On this week's programme, we've taken a trip to Southend, my hometown, to seek thrills in Adventure Island and ride through some book reviews on the way. We look at the relationship between illegal substances and creativity in London's premier lit pub, Filthy McNasty's, and talk to Martin Parr about his hilarious boring postcards. Right, so we're in Southend, which is actually the home, well, not the home of, but the destination for many day trippers. And here we've got a book by Hugh Broun. Tell me about it. What did you think?
I thought it was rubbish.
Oh no, why?
There was no meaning to it. There was no beginning, there was no middle, there was no end. There was no meaning at all.
So was there a plot?
It was about a group of people who go off to France, drunken, hostile people, but no, not really, no plot at all.
He's a friend of mine.
I am so sorry, but
That's all right.
Oh, that's all right.
He's coming round to dinner.
Well, you can tell him
2
now.
weeks' time. Now, Tracy didn't like her book, but she did mention Hannibal, which was an example of something that she liked, and Richard here has read it. So what did you think of Hannibal, Richard?
It's quite well written. It's somebody's after Hannibal Lecter. One of his old victims who managed to survive is after Lecter. Someone's after Lecter, Lecter's after someone, someone's after Starling, Starling's after Lecter. And towards the end of the book, they all meet up, and that's where it all starts falling apart, which is a shame, because up until then it was a better book than Silence of the Lambs.
Day Trippers by Hugh Broun is published by Scepter. Hannibal by Thomas Harris is published by Heinemann. Whilst in Southend, I pounced on my mum, an avid reader, and got her to review a book too. It's called Dreamland, and the cover looks like it's a sort of set in a fun fair.
Yes.
What is it?
Yes. The whole Coney Island is a fun fair. Different rides, different fairs, different amusement places.
And it's Dreamland.
A fantasy world. It's about the 1911. Really, it's all about the immigration, the people that immigrated there. And all their lives are portrayed to the backdrop of Dreamland, the Fun Palace.
Marks out of 10. Springing this one on you.
Oh, 9 out of 10.
Really?
I was very, very impressed with it. But I must emphasise again and again, it's heavy going.
Right.
But please stick with it. It's really worth it.
I'll tell you what. You hang on to this, and we can give it to Dad for Christmas. From the waltzers and whirligigs of the fairground to one roller coaster ride of a film. Head On, based on the book Loaded by Chris Tiolkas, a day trip in the life of a clubbing and drugging gay man in Australia.
You fuck a few girls for me tonight, huh?
They tell you to believe in something. Believe in family, in the future, save the world. Believe in love. You ever been in love?
Every time, sugar.
No, I mean really in love. I'm a man, and I'm taking up the house.
Of course you do, you Greek.
It's written in an incredibly sort of in-your-face style, very raw prose. I found the story of Ari compelling. He's an incredible character. He's a young man who's really searching for a whole lot of things. He's caught between cultures, that of his Greek heritage and wanting to sort of fit into the mainstream or assimilate into the mainstream. It's a roller coaster ride, the book. It was an extraordinary read, and I remember reading it very quickly and putting it down and thinking, my God, this is an extraordinary 24 hours in this young man's life. And for all those reasons, I just thought he was a really compelling screen character.
Come on. Come on.
Pray to God, pray to Allah, pray to Buddha, pray to fucking whatever, it doesn't matter. Nothing's gonna save your kids now. Nothing!
Dreamland by Kevin Baker is published by Granta. Loaded by Chris Tiolkas is published by Vintage. What kind of thing are you looking for?
I am looking for unputdownable novels that you just can't stop reading and you hand on heart recommend to people that you meet or friends or whatever else. Editing is a big part of the job, obviously. I mean, that literally is pencil on paper saying, cut this, do this, let's shift this around and make it the best possible book.
Arabella, if you're a new writer who's trying to get the attention of a publisher, is it better to get an agent or to just simply send in your manuscript?
It's a terrible truth, it does make it easier. If you get something from an agent, you know the agent, you know that they know what you want to read. You will probably, unfortunately, take it slightly more seriously than something from what's called the slush pile. But there's two levels to the slush pile. There's people who just send in, like, Dear Fourth Estate, I've written this wonderful memoir of my time in World War II. And there's also people who can bother to do their research to find out which houses they like and also which editors they want. And things like the Writer's Handbook have got all the editors in them.
The love affair between writers and illegal substances is legendary. Alcohol has certainly played a powerful part in the creative process, and Filthy McNasty's, a literary London pub, has managed to combine the two in their celebrated box and roll nights. I asked Jerry, the owner, to tell me more about them.
So the writer does 3 sets of 5 to 7 minutes readings, interspersed with their favourite music, the soundtrack to the book, soundtrack to their life. Yeah, we've done everybody from Ginsberg, Kim Kesey, Will Self, James Elroy, Pat McCabe, Nick Cave, Roddy Doyle, just about everybody you ever know. But what it has done is it's brought literature back to the bars, back to the people, back to the street.
So we've got literary readings, we've got changing the face of literature, and you've got alcohol. Are the two interlinked?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, a lot of writers get a lot of inspiration from life. A lot of life takes part in socialising. As Kesey said, you know, it's better to come down than never being high.
Filthy McNasty's customer. Now, we've given you a book to review. What was it?
Whiteouts by Michael Blaine.
And what did you think of it?
I actually really liked it, massively, because it's in my favourite format, which is taking each chapter from a different point of view. It's about a boy that's schizophrenic that gets himself out of the hospital. And it's all kind of in this kind of Fargo-esque kind of backdrop, kind of really filmic, really Coen Brothers. In fact, the whole book's really filmic. But he basically draws his whole family across the snow, through the blizzards, to like a house in the middle of nowhere, to like a Judgment Day kind of feeling. Right. But it also does go into the world of small town teenagers, what you're going to do to get your rocks off, what you're going to do to have a laugh. And so yeah, there's lots of dabbling and playing around and saucy stuff.
Talking about saucy, we all know seaside towns are famed for their naughty postcards, but Martin Parr's new book, Boring Postcards, revels in the banal.
But over about 20 years, I've been collecting boring postcards, and I guess at home now I must have 500,000. I haven't even actually counted them. And these cards are all British, and they're all mainly taken in the 1960s and 70s. And I guess what's interesting about them is that it was after the war and Britain was starting to rebuild, and at that point any sort of motorway or any shopping centre was thought to be worthy of a postcard.
Whiteouts by Michael Blaine is published by Headline. Boring Postcards by Martin Parr is published by Phaidon. Thank you for that wonderful ride, Glenn, Paul and Marianne. That was fantastic. Now, we gave you some books to review. What were they and what did you think?
Right, I read Sawdust Caesar. It's a novel about the mod culture in the 1960s.
Right.
It was fiction, but based on real life. It's quite good. I didn't think the mod bit was all that relevant because it's basically just a young boy's life.
So, Paul, what did we get you to read?
I read a book called Scooterama. Don't know who it was by, I can't remember. But basically, it was a book that sort of like covers all the different types of scooters like these, say from the after the Second World War right up to the present date ones with. It's a good book, really, if you really want to know every in and out of every single scooter.
And our mod books are Sawdust Caesar by Howard Baker, published by Mainstream, and Scooterama by Alistair Walker, which is published by Carlton. Now, book review. Leon, what did we give you?
You gave me Light in the Head, which
Light
I thought
in the
might be
Head.
interesting. There's a whole bunch of little sperms on the front. I thought that might be kind of interesting, but
And it's by Brian Langan.
Yes.
And so, come on, verdict.
As much as I would hate to slag off an author who, this is his first book, it's such shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry, Brian. But
okay.
I tell you, it started off really well, and there was some good ideas, and it could have been very interesting, but it plodded along, and it was just, oh God, it was pain. I've had better trips to the dentist. In fact, I'm going to throw it in the sea.
Are you?
Yeah.
Can I watch you do that?
Can you watch me throw it in the sea?
I've never seen a book thrown in the sea before now. Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Langan.
Sorry, Brian.
Oh, didn't mean to say. Oh, no, look out!
No, it's gone in the way. So loud. Crash, what a disaster.